How are you, Kurt?
I'm good. How are you?
Love chatting with you, brother.
It just makes me smile to think about things that you do physically. Just saying.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite? When I had the opportunity to hit the dunk tank with Michael Irvin and I overshot the throw by like 4 feet, like, is that your favorite one, or me with the trying to kick field goals?
But yeah, that was my favorite because I think that was one of the first where I truly got a glimpse into the athleticism or lack thereof of Rich Eisen. But my favorite story is always when your son was in the studio and he threw a sweet spiral, and this was a year or two after you didn't throw such a good spiral in that moment you were just talking about. And he threw pretty well, and your chest was puffing up a little bit like, see, okay, I'm learning, I'm teaching my son. And I asked him, who taught you to throw like that? And without hesitation, he said, my nanny, Katie. I mean, that was one of my favorite moments on our show of all time. Because you were just so ready to explode with pride.
Yes.
When he was going to say, it was Dad?
Yes, it was Dad.
And without hesitation, my nanny, Katie. That was a beautiful moment that I will never forget.
Oh my gosh! And yet, when you came on my show and I asked you to complete some physical achievement by throwing a football through a hole about 10 yards away, you're complaining about the type of footballs they are. You're complaining
that
made it play.
You ask a pro on, bring the pro footballs. Come on, bring the real thing. Yeah. I noticed you didn't make it. Like I said, it obviously had some retention to it because by the end of the week, everybody was throwing the Duke.
That's right. Well, Shaq had, I think Shaq
was throwing the
Kyler Murray made 7 of 10.
Kyler Murray
made his first 7.
Number one
I didn't
pick.
hear any complaints out of him, did I?
No, me neither.
Nope.
That actually propelled him to enter the draft.
Yeah.
He's a little guy. He can use those little footballs. It's harder for a guy with big hands like that.
That's the Kurt Warner I know and love. Right there. Right there.
Let's
All right.
go.
While he's on the phone, before we talk football, since you say this is going to upset me, go ahead and read. What do you want to tell me right now about Michigan?
We have some odds on who's going to be the next Michigan head coach.
Can you believe Beeline left, Kurt? Can you believe that? To go to the Cavs?
Really surprising. Yeah, with all the success that he's had. But come on. I mean, we all know. I mean, you want to take your hand at the highest level and see how you can do. And so, but yeah, a lot of great success there. So, but
I was really surprised.
Hey, you got to give it a shot, don't you?
I know. Yeah, I agree. So, what are the odds? Who's going to be the odds-on favorite to take over?
Okay, so I oversold a little bit. Chris Beard is actually the favorite.
He just signed.
He's 3-1. Okay, but the second favorite.
Yeah.
Rick Pitino.
Oh,
that's never happening. No
way. Rick Pitino's like 4.5 to 1.
What do you think of that, Rich?
Kurt, I think that is. I mean, it's more. It would be more realistic for Michigan to destroy their program, and all of us who were so rooting for Beeline to beat Rick Pitino in a final that has since been tainted by his behavior, and should be awarded to Michigan.
That's not really how that works, but
that it would be more realistic for Michigan to torch their program by having a Khaleesi ride in on a dragon and torch it. That's what I think is more realistically possible.
It's going to be cool when you hire Rick Pitino and you have to play all your games at midnight because he's a vampire.
Oh, exactly. He's got to flip the coin and go out to center court.
No way.
With his blue on.
Who?
This is according to
according to Vital? Like to who? By who?
An offshore sports book. Yeah.
All right, Kurt, let's get into talking some football. I don't know if you heard Josh Rosen just moments ago, but he sounded like a totally mature kid who's enjoying his time with Fitzpatrick in the quarterback room, not like somebody who's like, hey, I'm entitled to get this job right from Jump Street, like the kid that everybody thought he would be based on all the red flags that I think were inappropriately applied to him. That's my obviously slanted setup question, but I'm wondering what you think of Rosen in Miami and the way he's conducted himself here, Kurt.
But yeah, I mean, I think the way that he's conducted himself has been nothing but class. And, I think so often when people see, any professional athlete, but for whatever reason, that's kind of been the narrative with Josh Rosen is that he's entitled, and he thinks things should be given to him, and all of that stuff has kind of been the narrative all the way from college, and even to the point where a lot of people were saying, we don't really like his demeanor because of that. I don't think we've seen anything but exactly the opposite as he's gone through this entire thing, whether it's saying the right thing, showing up, for team workouts, when there's all the speculation, the video that was posted, congratulating Kyler and, saying thanks to the fans and the organization, to the way that he's carrying himself now and the things that he's saying about the organization. And as you just said on your show about Coach Kingsbury, and I mean, all of that stuff, I mean, he's done nothing but say and do the right things. And, whatever has brought that about, is that who the young man has always been? Has it been through different trials and challenges? Sometimes that, that matures us and that allows us to grow up and step back and see the big picture, with things that are going on. I don't know what it is, but all I know is he's handled it with a great attitude, with class, and he's looking forward to the new challenge. As he said, not expecting to be handed the football or handed the starting job, but simply to continue to learn and try to find the best situation for him to succeed. So, tip my hat to him, because that's not an easy situation. It's not even easy to say the right thing all the time. And he's done nothing but carry himself the right way. And that would have to excite me if I'm the Miami Dolphins, with the way that he's done things and the way that he's really set himself up as he enters our organization. And obviously we're going to see a lot more of who this guy is as we move forward. But, but it excites me that we made that move and we're getting a kid that seems to be very mature and accepting of the situation that he's in now, and excited to work and try to earn the position.
Well, and then on the flip side of it too, though, Kurt, I mean, you're there in Arizona. I'm sure the excitement level for Kyler Murray is through the roof. And I guess if you're going to go bold or go home, they went bold, and they got Andy Isabella. I mean, then they got a couple of other wide receivers to stock this offense. How do you think it's going to work? First blush here with Murray in Arizona.
Well, I mean, I'm excited to see, like everyone else. I mean, I'm excited to see what the offense looks like. We've always talked about the air raid, and we've seen it at the college level and the success that it can garner. But we've never really seen that at the NFL level, with the spacing being different on the field and the hashes being tighter and the athletes being better. What's that going to look like? And how's that going to work with the pieces they have? I mean, I think their draft was great. I'm excited to see Kyler Murray play and, what he can bring from the last level to this level, and that excitement part of it. And you hear, all the talk here of, Cliff Kingsbury going out and talking to Lincoln Riley about terminology. So it's a smooth transition. So I think there's a lot of excitement here with the pieces they brought in and more wide receivers and playmakers around him. They brought in a bunch of people in the offseason, which I really like their moves in the offseason. But the big question is, a lot of those guys that they brought in on paper look better, but are coming off of injuries or haven't been playing as much. And so I still think offensive line-wise, either those guys stay healthy. If on paper, or I should say on Sundays, it looks like it looks on paper now, and they're better than they've been in a long time up front with those weapons, I'm really excited to see what this team can look like and how excited they can be right out of the get-go, because I'm excited about Kyler Murray. I felt he was the best quarterback in the draft. He brings a lot to the table. But I'm intrigued because I think there are a lot of question marks, from personnel to what kind of offense they're going to run to what can Kyler Murray be at this level, with all his talent, but also, the height thing. I think that can be an issue. I want to see if it's going to be an issue. I'm just intrigued by it because there's so many unknowns right now with what we're going to see here in Arizona.
And Kurt Warner, my Pro Football Hall of Fame compadre from NFL Game Day Morning here on the Rich Eisen Show. The other quarterbacks who got drafted last month, Haskins is clearly taking the gig in Washington right now. We'll have to see what's going on with Daniel Jones. What do you think is going through Eli's mind right now, since obviously he might be in the role, if you will, of you coming up this year with Daniel Jones in the role of Eli to you, Kurt. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, knowing the person of Eli Manning, I think he welcomes the opportunity to tutor a young man that I got a chance to meet just after the draft, and just seems like a quality young man. I think they're going to mesh really well, and I think Eli is going to accept the role of being able to teach and tutor or mentor, whatever the word you want to use, Daniel Jones. I also think the beautiful part of what the Giants have done is they've come out and said, this is Eli's gig. We believe Eli can play, and we believe Eli's going to be here and play for another couple years, could be 3 years before Daniel Jones sees the field. And I think that helps alleviate some of that pressure that, I think Eli knows it's getting closer to the end, and, there is an end in sight. And the Giants have basically said, we are not looking to replace you. We are looking to get the guy to take over for you when you're done. And that's been the approach. Now, we all know in this business, just because that's the approach doesn't mean that's how it's going to play out. If Eli doesn't play well, if the team struggles, then they have that decision to make. But I at least think they've done it the right way and laid it out the right way, that that they don't have they're not in any hurry for Daniel Jones to see the field. They just want the next Eli Manning when that time comes to an end, and I think Eli's going to handle it with nothing but class, and he's going to be great for Daniel Jones because of his demeanor and the way that he's handled New York. That I think he's going to be able to help Daniel a lot, both on the field and how to handle all the craziness of New York off the field.
Well, I mean, and if I'm making analogies here that might be still clumsy, what might be more, I guess, appropriate of an analogy with what happened with you and Eli is what's going on with Flacco in Denver with Drew Lock. And by that I mean, obviously, Drew Lock is not a first overall selection being brought in like Eli was acquired for, if you want to be technical about it, for Phillip Rivers. But you are in the role of Flacco, as you are a guy who won a Super Bowl in a spot, Super Bowl MVP as well in that spot, looking to get a second spark on a career here. And so I'm wondering what you think of Flacco now being in Denver after what happened to him in Baltimore. What do you think of his statement saying that he really, it's not part of his role to mentor Drew Lock, Kurt?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand that mentality at all. And again, not just Joe Flacco. We've heard a number of guys say that recently. Big Ben said that, I think it was a year ago, when they drafted a guy behind him.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph.
That it's not my role. I disagree with that. I believe your role is to help your team be as good as it possibly can be. And yeah, that's your role if you're the starter, to be prepared and be ready to go. That's to help all of your teammates, including the guy that's backing you up or the guy that they want to take your job at some point. It's helping him be the best pro and be the best player that he can be. And, the funny thing is that, people throw this around like, well, you can't do both. You can't prepare and get ready to play a game and mentor a young guy. Well, the bottom line is you're not taking this guy home with you. I mean, it's not like your entire job is to sit there just for a Drew Lock or whomever that may be, a Daniel Jones. Your job is to show the young man how to prepare, how to be a pro. When you're in the office and you're watching film, hey, Drew, come on, we're going to go watch film. And I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. I'm going to show you how I prepare. Here's what I do every night when I go. This is what I do on the football field. Watch me. Ask me questions. If you wonder why I threw it to this guy on this particular play, come talk to me after the play, and I'll tell you what I saw and what I was thinking. So, primarily the mentoring role happens when you're at the facility, when you're preparing anyways, and it's just taking a young man along with you to say, here are all my secrets. Here's my notebooks. Here's my notes. Here's what I do, and this is what's got me to this point. And I don't know if all this will work for you, but I want to show you how I do it and how it's worked for me and how I've gotten to the point where I've won a Super Bowl. Take what you can. And then if there's other questions you have or anything else that you want to glean from me, just ask. I'm here as an open book to help you. And I think, oftentimes when you mentor someone, it only prepares you more. As a young kid's asking you a question that maybe you've answered a million times, but now they're bringing a little more direction to it, or bringing a little more light to something that maybe you've passed on, or you're getting a little more into detail because you're trying to share that stuff with a young guy. I don't think in any way that's a detriment to you preparing. It's not like, I'm trying to do my work over here and I got to go answer another question, or I got to go watch film with Drew, or whatever it is. It's come along, come join me. Let's do this together and learn from me in every facet, not just by osmosis because I'm over here and you can watch me, but it's come and ask me and see, and you just open up your world to them and say, I want you to be the best that you can be. And then the second part of that is, as a competitor, I always said the same thing, is I want to give every trick of the trade to that guy that's competing with me. I want to give him every answer to every test, and then I want to go out and beat him. Then I want to show everybody that I'm still the best quarterback, even though it's not because he's young and because he doesn't know anything. It's because I'm the better guy. And so not only do you make your team better and you make the people around you better, so when you leave the organization, when you move on, they're in a better place to succeed, but you're also saying, hey, I want the best competition possible because that is only going to push me to be best, the best that I can be, and to compete every time out. And bottom line is, I believe the best person should win. I believe that best person is me, but if the best person is the other guy, then he deserves to play, and I don't want to just be playing because he doesn't know enough or because he's too young. I want to be playing because I'm the best guy for the job. And, so I just never understood, no matter where you go, in any business, you should take the role that, I'm here to be the best that I can be and help this organization be great. But a big part of that is making sure that I'm bringing people along and I'm teaching them the next thing. So no matter where I end up or how long I'm here, that I'm doing the best thing for the organization that I'm committed to. And so to me, it just doesn't make sense that, hey, my job isn't to do anything extra to help that young guy out. My job is to win games. Yeah, your job's to win games, but your job is also to help everybody around you be better. And that doesn't have to just be your backup. That can be anybody on defense, could be anybody on the offensive line. It could be people in the front office, the head coaches. You go up and talk to them. Your job is to do everything you can possibly do to make your team better.
So then in the minute I have left, do you think Elway's saying something to him? I mean, John is a Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback too. I mean, what do you think is happening off of something like that?
Yeah, I don't know if he's saying anything to him, because I think there are guys that kind of have that mentality that my job is to do my job. And I understand that part of it. I just think there has to be next level thinking, and I would think the organization and a guy like John Elway would want Joe Flacco to be able to share that. So this quarterback that he's drafted this year is the next guy, and he doesn't have to go find another one. But I don't know if those things are being said, because I think a lot of people understand as a competitor, what a Joe Flacco or a Big Ben is talking about, and hey, I got to devote everything to what I'm doing to be successful. I just think we make it too black and white. Like, I can't do the other if I'm preparing to be successful. That's not true. You got plenty of time to be able to do both. And oftentimes, like I said, I think doing the mentoring part of it only makes you better prepared and make you sharper at what you're doing to be more successful when you step on the football field. But I wouldn't be surprised if nobody from the organization went and talked to Joe about those comments, because I think a lot of people understand, what he's getting at by saying that's not my job.
Kurt, you're the man. Say hi to Brenda. By the way, Susie showed me the photograph, and I tweeted it out of in her welding gig. She made this Sansa Stark necklace.
Yes, he did.
She nailed it. So that means you're watching
too, like everybody else with Game of Thrones. So that we're big fans. So
you are.
Obviously her welding, and they got some cool stuff there. So yeah, she saw the Sansa necklace, and she goes, "Man, that's cool. I got to make one of those." So it's inspired, and
awesome.
Metal Art by B. If anybody wants, metalartbyb.com. If anybody wants to jump on and likes metal art or metal jewelry, she's got some really cool stuff.
Kurt, thanks for the call. Say hi.
You bet, man.
You
Talk
bet.
to you soon.
You bet. That's Kurt 13 Warner.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.